I was 20 years old when I gave my life to Christ. Some brother I know came to the place I stay, invited me for the church program. I didn't want to go at first because it bugs me. It was a Sunday evening and I want to play football. I ran out of the house, sneaked out to go and play football. But as destiny will have it, they came to the field where I was playing football and they called me. I said, "Come on, have you forgotten that we invited you for a church program?" I was born a Catholic, but not actually a religious person. I don't mind. There was a time in my life I did not go to church for more than 2 years. I always pop in once in a while, but that was it. No recommitment to God, no nothing. I was living a life of sin. I was alcoholic. I was doing all sort of things. These two brothers keep insisting that I go with them to the church. And because of their continuous persuasion, I feel okay, let's go. When I get to the church was having a 3 days revival program that ends on Sunday. It was a continuous and ongoing program for a very long time, even after I joined them. When I get there, the church was a little bit hazardous. Everything was unkept. The place was new. There were literally goat sheets everywhere. And I was asking myself, what is this place? Is this a house of God or just a gathering? But the Holy Spirit converts me there. I keep getting news. I keep getting sensation movements in my body. I keep hearing voices that are not similar and not recognizable to me. They are not familiar voices. The man of God looked at me and said, "You are a man who will carry the altar and the mantle of your father." My father, on the other hand, was a former minister of the gospel, but not anymore. So I feel reluctant and I laughed about it. But I did notice one thing about me all I was growing up. I'm somebody of prayer. I do pray a lot, and I know that when I get to pray, I like to pray. I have this enthusiasm to pray. But that didn't stop me. That didn't bring to my concern until I met this man of God. This man changed my life entirely. He's my father in the Lord. I started going to the church. And from that day, my life never remained the same. I went to my former church because I went between churches. And the Holy Spirit told me not to come here again. I was sitting down and he said, "What are you doing here? There are many of you here. I need to go there and start a new movement." That was how I joined the church. And from that day, I never stepped foot on my former church anymore up to this day. And I never consider myself a member of my former church. I don't want to call the church name to protect privacies. Just get the gist. And I started moving with my new church and with my new pastor. And it was a good journey. It was a bumpy one. I hid from a lot of trauma. I find myself. I find Christ. I have full fulfillment. I have joy for the first time in my life. And it was good. Believe me, it was good. My story is a very wide story. But I made it through. Believe me, no way to come to heaven is easy. Even Jesus said that wide and broad is the road that leads to destruction. But narrow and bumpy is the road that leads to heaven, to his kingdom. I have a lot of trauma I went through. I went through different levels of temptation. I fell into all kinds of temptation. You know, when you get born again, people tell you it's all better, it's all good from here. Of course it is. God doesn't promise us that he will take away our problem all of a sudden. One thing he do promise us is that he will be with us all through our trouble. He will go through that time with us. He will go through that dark time with us. That is the ministry behind Psalm 23, talking about he will walk through with us even in the shadow of death. I have a big story coming up about my struggle with lust, pornography, and masturbation. I will give you the next story on the next episode of my journey. God bless you. This channel is dedicated to tell stories that inspires you, brings you to Christ, explore life, be the best you can, and live with a positive mindset. I'll be breaking down a lot of things and a lot of mysteries, a lot of biblical mysteries, a lot of life mysteries that will change your life in this 2026 and beyond. But other than that, I also have a fascinating story about my personal life, my personal growth with God, the churches I went to, church in general, the highs and lows, the disadvantage and advantage of ministry. Because we, of course, not by power, not by my channel, we are an online movement dedicated to bring the gospel to the hidden. I have a lot of personal histories to share also. Of the brothers who brought me to Christ, I will tell you their journey and our journey together and how it ended. I'll tell you my pastor slash my father in the Lord, how our journey began and how it's going. And I will tell you a lot of stories, my highs and lows, all my moments since becoming a born again, and you will be there to hear the full gist. I also noticed that people don't subscribe. Please subscribe and watch this video and share with friends because it can inspire, save, and bring someone to Jesus. God bless you. This is not by power, not by might, and remember, it is not by your power, not by your might. See you in the clouds.